And then, 16 some years later, and I believe in 1929, on the corner of 125th and Lenox, a second abortion clinic in Harlem this time was built by the American Birth Control League, which became Planned Parenthood, where that money, again, came from John D. Rockefeller through his friend, Julius Rosenwald, who created the 5,000 Rosenwald schools in the South, who also was the co-creator of the University of Chicago, Obama, along with J.D. Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, and Rockefeller's wife, Laura Spelman, who was a major proponent of Black eugenics and Black segregation and Black depopulation. Laura Spelman created an all-Black female college, which is in Atlanta today, called Spelman College, And Julius Rosenwald gave that $100,000, fund of that to his friend, Cecil B. DeMille, who was sleeping with Margaret Sanger, along with W.C. Fields. So Margaret Sanger is a whore.
Literally.
A whore. She's trash. And she was instructed by one of the founding fathers of the Boule Sacred Society, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, if you want access to Black America, you have to begin with the Black pulpit, the pastor.
Margaret Sanger strived for a society that limited births to only those she deemed fit to have children.
Well, I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents, prisoners, all sorts of things just marked when they're born. That, to me, is the greatest sin.
Many pro-choice advocates see her as a hero, but critics call her a racist eugenics promoter who targeted Black communities with her Planned Parenthood clinics.
Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, once said, colored people are like weeds, they need to be exterminated.
People don't understand that 79% of Planned Parenthood clinics are located in minority communities, and that minority communities shoulder a disproportionate amount of abortion.
Dr. King says while African Americans make up only 13% of the U.S. population, over 30% of aborted babies are from Black mothers.
Under the veil of secrecy and deception, 60+ million babies have not been born because they were aborted legally since '73. 1/3 of that population belong to the African American community.
Greetings from the east, the north, the south, and this wicked-ass west. The topic, the plans to unparent Black neighborhoods. The questions, why you think they made plans to unparent Black neighborhoods? Let's get into it. I am your host. I am the one.
Okay, here's what I think. When you have a group of people that plan to unparent neighborhoods, particularly Black neighborhoods, when they make plans, they set plans in place to build and put up Planned Parenthood buildings all across Black communities. What sick group of people do things like that? You know, out of all the races here in America, they concentrate on one group of people. Tell me why. Just tell me why. They will take money and fund abortion clinics. And they'll do it in the name of, I'm trying to help you, I'm trying to protect you. Be aware of people that give you free gifts. As a matter of fact, don't even take them. You know, you think about, why are you doing this for me? Now, this Margaret Sanger, the devil, filthy piece of garbage that she is, she seems to think that certain people are undesirables. You know, they want to clean the whole earth of so-called races that they deemed undesirable. That term is called eugenics. In other words, what they try to do is get rid of people that they deem undesirable, not them. Margaret Sanger mother had 17 pregnancies. 11 kids made it. 11 children were born. I think she lost 7, if I'm not mistaken. You look it up. Now, this same woman that her mother had 17 pregnancies, but she want to put Planned Parenthood in black neighborhoods. Well, she should have had that same conversation with her own mother. But you see, I can't talk about her mother because her mother understood her duty. And a woman's duty is to reproduce. You know, her mother understood that. She didn't. As a matter of fact, they say she was just a flat out whore. And I believe them. And you got these segment of people, rich people, that decide that certain people deserve not to live. So instead of granting that money to build things that's important for the neighborhood, stores, shops, etc., hospitals, you can go on and on and on. No. They won't use that type of money for that. But what they will do is use money like that to kill people. And they put a decent term. You know, they don't call it murder. That's exactly what it is. But see, they don't call it that. They start using soft words. But the fact of the matter is that you tell me why groups of people like that won't use those same ideals on their own race. You know, if you really want it that bad, do it to your own kind. But no, And then here's the thing about Lori Spellman. Lori Spellman was married to John D. Rockefeller. Of course, most blacks didn't know, but of course she started Spelman University. That's in Georgia to this day. And across the way, Morehouse is for the males. Another good Christian white man started that. Here's the thing about your education. Be careful. The money that you take from other groups, but they must be in charge. In other words, they'll start your group and put a black face on it, but they are in charge. So they're going to teach you what they want you to know. That's the problem in a nutshell. I mean, think about it. Margaret Sanger totally hate black people with a passion. This same woman said we shouldn't even be born. But that same person will give you a gift, or she hang around people that have the money to give you a gift. There's something to that gift. And be careful. The hand that rocks your cradle rules the world. What do that mean? The person that educates you first, teach you all your ideologies, your philosophies, your religion, all those things they want you to know. They will teach it to you, you know, and come against anybody that says otherwise. So be careful, be very careful before you take a gift from anybody. And also those people that are in your own race that will instruct them of how we are. What's his name? The brother said it earlier, W.E.D. Du Bois. You know, him. Well, I'm going to tell you how these people are. In other words, you'll sell your own kind out to be accepted by a bunch of people that don't like you and hate you in the first place. And, you know, they don't teach this type of thing. When they teach history about so-called black people and black leaders, they don't go behind the scenes. Find out, now, where exactly are you getting your funding from? Okay. And you start to scratch your head. You know, are you really with us or not? Now, of course, this new movement they have today, Foundational Black Americans, you know, they're really scrutinizing everybody now, and I'm happy. Of course, I came along, you know, during the Civil Rights Movement, and We was headed in a different direction. I don't think desegregation was the way to go. If you look at it, hindsight, of course, is 2020. But now you have foundational Black Americans. They're scrutinizing everything. And they're not really taking a bunch of mess. They're saying, no, you get the hell out. This is not for the betterment of us, our own people. So they'll say, no, we're not going for this. I think that's the way it should be. Hey, let's go to the next clip.
The Harlem Pastoral Alliance, each pastor received $500 from Margaret Sanger through W.E.B. Du Bois for what? To allow this trash, this hoe, Margaret Sanger, to come into Black churches in Harlem to persuade Black women to abort their children. So the life of a Black child was only worth $500?
One thing I can tell you for a fact is that no one likes a snitch. Nobody can stomach a snitch. If you decide to do something, and it is what it is, when you make that move, you make that move. And if you get caught, it's on you. That's the same with a traitor. A traitor, if caught, should be treated worse than an enemy. No one can stomach a traitor. You'll sell your race out for crumbs, for pennies. You think about that for a minute. At the expense of the whole race, you want to profit, the one individual. The punishment for people and persons like that, we all know what their final fate should be. Thank you for watching. I am your host. I am the one.